Hello, everybody, and welcome to Youth Connect Friday, May 21st. I'm Aiden.
I'm Joshua.
I'm Nibras.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. It is so nice to see everyone, and I hope that you're having a wonderful week. As you know, we have a bunch of stuff today. We got entertainment, we've got sports, and we've even got some amazing animal news and also our live music. But to start us off, we always have to do our live but very interesting video game news. Okay, are you guys ready? Because we have to do our spotlight game of the week. I usually give you a game that I think you should check out. And today, I have a game that is very close to my heart, and it is actually a very good game that released today. But before we get into the name, I want to tell you a story. Before everything, during the Wii's release, there were these things called Miis. Miis would make their first appearance in the Nintendo Wii's 2006 launch game, Wii Sports, as the playable and background characters. Since then, the Miis would appear in every game of the series with the same role, such as Wii Sports Resorts for the Wii and Wii Sports Club. Then came Miitopia that released on December 8th, 2016. Now, just so you guys know, Miis are basically custom people or humans or, friends or family that you make yourself. And honestly, now with Miitopia, those Miis have been put into a RPG/fantasy world. This isn't your average RPG though. Some of the roles, usually you could be a warrior, a mage, a cleric, the boring stuff. But this game, you could play as a tank, a flower, a devil, a chef, and even a cat. And that's just a couple that I've said. There's way more opportunities and way more types of jobs and new types of roles that you can play or you can give your characters. And I won't spoil this game too much for you guys, but let me tell you that it was brand new, released for the Switch today, like I said, and I really want you to check it out because honestly, let me tell you something. It has 600 outfits and over 400 types of foods. So it honestly is a pretty creative game that really doesn't follow the usual style because honestly, you could have your mother and father join you on an adventure. It's limitless. There's so much that you could do with it. So I hope you check out Miitopia for the Switch that released today. Anyways, next up is Kevin, and Kevin has local Ontario, Canadian news and weather.
Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Youth Connect. The time is now 3:30. I'm your host Kevin Aruja, and now the headlines. Ontario reports fewer than 1,900 new COVID-19 cases, 27 more deaths. Toronto's holiday track record could use some improvement, Dave Villa said as she urges people not to gather over the long weekend. Federal provincial privacy watchdogs issue warning about vaccine passports. Solicitor General hints that Ontario will move away from region-by-region approach to a reopening plan. And up to 2,500 fans allowed at Bell Centre for potential Leafs versus Habs Game 6. Ontario is reporting fewer than 1,900 cases of 27 additional deaths on Friday, as viral-related hospitalizations continue to decline. Provincial health officials logged 1,890 new coronavirus cases, a notable drop from 2,400 reported on Thursday. The drop in testing contributed to a small increase in the province positivity rate to 5.4%, compared to 5.2% on Thursday. According to the Ministry of Health, of those hospitalized, 715 were in intensive care units, down by 6 from the previous day, and 510 were breathing with the help of a ventilator. More than 7.7 million doses of vaccines have been administered across the province since mid December. Toronto's top doctor is urging the city's residents not to gather over the upcoming Victoria Day long weekend. Um, whatever. Toronto's top doctor is urging the city's residents not to gather over the upcoming Victoria Day long weekend, as health officials continue to try to push down COVID-19 infection rates. She noted that after every holiday weekend over the last year or so, Toronto has seen an increase in COVID infections. Toronto reported 751 new COVID 19 cases on Wednesday, while Ontario reported a total of 1,588 new cases. While infection rates have been trending downward recently, health officials and officials, disease specialists have warned that Ontario could experience a harsh fourth wave if the province reopens too quickly. A provincial stay-at-home order remains in effect is set to last until June 2nd. Current provisional health restrictions prohibit indoor and outdoor gatherings, and people are being advised to stay home except for essential purpose, such as doctor's appointments, essential work, groceries, and exercise. Canada's privacy commissioners are issuing a warning about vaccine passports, saying measures must be taken to ensure Canadians' personal information is protected. While this may offer substantial public benefit, is an encroachment on civil liberties that should be taken only after careful consideration. Federal, provincial, and territorial privacy commissioners and an ombudsperson's office in Manitoba and New Brunswick said in a media statement today. Health Minister Patty Hajdu told CBC News that last week that her government is talking with G7 allies about implementing a vaccine passport that would allow Canadians to travel internationally again. On May 13th, Quebec started issuing downloadable QR codes that people can keep on their phones to prove they have been vaccinated, but it remains unclear how the digital proof of vaccinations will be used. Solicitor General Sylvia Jones is hinting that the province will move away from the regionalization approach it has used in the past to lift public health restrictions and instead pursue a sector by sector reopening strategy. The progressive conservative government has previously imposed business closure and other public health restrictions on a region by region basis with Premier Doug Ford, arguing that the different approach is needed given the different viral pictures in some parts of a province. The approach has at times resulted in some business being allowed to operate in parts of the Greater Toronto area, but not in others, prompting concern about so-called region hopping. A target date to begin lifting restrictions hasn't been decided on, but sources have told CTV News Toronto that the government is working on a rough timeline of June and early July to fully unlock the economy. Oh no. In sports, a limited number of fans will be permitted in the Bell Center to watch a May 29th playoff game between the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs. Should the series last that long, the Quebec government announced Tuesday that indoor venues will be able to start hosting up to 2,500 patrons starting May 28th and that the provisional curfew will be lifted the same day. The announcement of Quebec's reopening plan came mere hours after Dr. Howard Najo, Canada's Deputy Chief Public Health Officer, said allowing fans into games is not under serious consideration. At this point in the COVID 19 pandemic, the CFL's Montreal's Alouettes said they were encouraged by Tuesday announcement the CFL is hoping to return to action in 2021 after having its 2020 season wiped out by the pandemic. In today's weather forecast, we have a mix of sun and clouds. The temperature is 31 degrees centigrade. On Saturday morning, we have got another mix of sun and clouds again. The temperature will be 23 degrees centigrade. That's all report on weather. Have a great weekend, folks. And now back to Aiden's gaming news.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Weather's looking pretty nice. You know what? Again, my goodness. Honestly, I gotta say, guys, as a person who sleeps, I do not like summer because I die in the heat during night. Whew. So, you know what? I wish it was a bit cooler, but honestly, it's all right. It's all right. It's pretty good. For our second gaming news, we got something that's a bit more weird than usual. Bandai, a very famous video game company, is releasing a Peppa Pig video game. So apparently it's official. A Peppa Pig game has been announced. My Friend Peppa will be released on October 22nd for PC via Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S. Now, while videos don't show off any gameplay, publisher Outright Games did share a few details. They're saying that you'll be able to customize your very own animal avatar to play along with Peppa across a variety of locations from the TV show, such as the beach, the chilly, snowy mountains, Peppa's house, and even the Potato City theme park. Other characters you'll be able to interact with include George, Daddy, and Mummy Pig, as well as several of Peppa's friends. Honestly, I didn't expect any less. Peppa Pig has been such a huge hit ever since it first debuted in 2004, with the show revolving around a young female pig, her family, and various family-friendly lessons learned along the way. So, actually, I have a niece that loves Peppa Pig. So I hope that she checks this out as well. And just for our younger audience, make sure that if you like Peppa Pig, honestly, you should check this game out because Bandai makes pretty good games. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see a Peppa Pig game implemented by Bandai. Anyways, next up we have Joshua, and Joshua has our world news and of course our very favorite cute animal news. Take it away, Joshua.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Youth Connect. Here's what's happening around the world. UK eases COVID restrictions despite concern over Indian variant. The people of Great Britain were given the go-ahead on Monday to share a hug, drink a pint with dinner indoors, and return to movie theaters and playhouses. But as the UK emerges from the worst of the coronavirus pandemic, the spread of the so-called Indian variant COVID-19 in England is causing concern, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson warned people to embrace easing of restrictions with heavy dose of caution. Restrictions have been easing this spring as the mass vaccination drive has ramped up. Nearly 70% of the adult population in the UK has at least first shot of a coronavirus vaccine. The number of new infections confirmed daily has fallen from almost 70,000 during the winter peak to an average of around 2,300 over the last week. About a month ago, non-essential shops, gyms, and beauty salons were allowed to open, and restaurants been allowed to serve food and drinks outdoors for the last month, too, as part of the government calls roadmap to recovery, roadmap to freedom. On Monday, social distancing guidelines were relaxed even further. People can now meet in groups of up to 6 indoors, including to eat at bars and restaurants, and up to 30 outdoors. Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire Thursday, halting an 11-day war that caused widespread duration in the destruction in the Gaza Strip and brought life in much of Israel to a standstill. At 2 a.m. local time, just as the ceasefire took effect, frenzy life returned to the streets of Gaza. The fighting erupted on May 10 when Hamas militants in Gaza fired long-range rockets toward Jerusalem. The barrage comes after days clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israel police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. The competing claims to Jerusalem lie at the heart of the Israel-Palestinian conflict and have reportedly triggered both bouts of violence in the past. Hamas and other militant groups fired over 4,000 rockets into Israel through the fighting launched the project projectiles from civilian areas at Israeli cities. Dozens of projectiles flew as far north as Tel Aviv, the country's bustling commercial and cultural capital. Israel, meanwhile, carried out hundreds of airstrikes, starting with what it was said was Hamas military infrastructure, including a vast tunnel network. At least 230 Palestinians were killed, including 65 children and 39 women, with 1,710 people wounded, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. 12 people in Israel, including a 5-year-old and a 16-year-old girl, were killed. World's largest iceberg just broke off in Antarctica. An enormous chunk of ice has broken off an Antarctica ice shelf, according to the European Space Agency. The floating mass covers more than 4,320 square kilometers, making it the largest iceberg in the world, agency officials said. The iceberg, dubbed the A76 cab of Ron ice shelf in Weddell Sea calving, is the term used when an iceberg breaks off. The iceberg, measuring around 170 kilometers long and 25 kilometers wide, with an area of 4,320 kilometers, is more than 70 times that of Manhattan, New York. It is not uncommon for an ice to shed and calving events occur naturally as these sprawling frozen platforms advance and contract. In recent decades, however, scientists have said climate change is causing worrisome changes across the Antarctic region. Turning to human interest story, a couple of 7 siblings in foster care after parents died in car crash. Pam Willis was scrolling through her Facebook feed in 2019 when she landed on a news story about 7 siblings in needed of a permanent home. The children, who range in age from 1 to 12, have been in foster care for more than a year after losing both parents in a horrific car crash rollover. Pam couldn't stop staring at their faces. I can't explain it, just as I knew I was supposed to be their mom, Pam, who was 50 years old. Pam and her husband Gary has 5 adult children and have been fostering kids for years, but they had never discussed adoption. It was what God wanted us to do, Pam said. That night, they called the number listed below at the bottom of the story. 2 months later, they were matched with 7 children who had experienced a great deal of trauma. Their late parents struggled with addiction, and the family often lived in homeless encampments. Food was scarce. Last August, Pam and Gary adopted 7 children. The emotional ceremony was attended virtually by Pam and Gary's biological children. Turning to animal interest news, a baby porcupine found by a family in Guelph on Mother's Day is being nursed back to health by Wildlife Haven Waterloo. Mila Kurdwick and her family were out for a walk on Mother's Day on trail in Guelph when they stumbled across the unusual creature. They called the Guelph Humane Society because he was all alone and there was no mother in sight. An animal service officer with the Humane Society picked it up and determined it needed special care. The porcupine, which the family decided to call Patty, was brought to Wildlife Haven Waterloo. Patty is the only second baby porcupine they have ever had at Wildlife Haven Waterloo. She will remain here over the summer to complete her rehabilitation therapy, including special branches to chew on and practice climbing. Patty will remain at the rescue site until fall, when she will be released back into the wild. This is Joshua Shaw reporting for Youth Connect. That's it for me. Now I'll send it back to you, Aiden.
Oh my gosh, I gotta say a few things. One, that iceberg is very scary. You know what? That could lead to a lot of problems, and it probably will. But on a more positive note, you know what? It's so nice to see that person adopted 7 kids. 7 kids. That is crazy. That is Like, that blows my mind. Thank you so much for sharing this news, Joshua. For our last thing, we got our board game of the week. Same as video game of the week, but this is our weird board game of the week, as I said. Really weird board games that you probably didn't know about, but you'll be like, that's pretty neat. So today, our board game is Weird But True, the game. Now, if you've ever read the books, Weird But True, made by National Geographic Kids, you'll love this board game. This board game is basically a trivia game that's based on the series. And even if you haven't, you'll still be pretty intrigued because you get to learn some pretty weird facts. It's an exclusive option because everyone plays every question. And for some cards, you only need to answer A or B. So those cards have multiple winners too. So if multiple people guess the same answer correctly, everyone wins. That way, it prevents arguments with younger kids, and it makes younger kids also feel very confident. Other question formats include fact or fiction, which chooses which statement is true, brain blitz, to name as many things in a category as you can during a timed interval, and I wonder, where everyone looks at a close-up image and tries to guess what's being shown. You'll know facts that you wouldn't even know. You're going to learn so much, and trust me that you'll at least say once, that's pretty weird. Hence the game, Weird But True. Anyways, though, we got Nibras, and Nibras has with us some entertainment and sometimes even a podcast.
Hello, Aiden. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. How are you guys today? My name is Nibras Khan, and I'm the host for the entertainment news. Let's get straight into our top story. And our top story is about the movie Doctor Strange. Marvel film Doctor Strange courted some controversy when it cast Tilda Swinton, a white woman, in the role of the Asian one, who's typically portrayed in the comic as an Asian man. Marvel Studios defended the casting leading up to the release, but now President Kevin Feige has addressed the controversy and admitted the company could have handled it differently. In 2016, Marvel Studios released a statement about Swinton's casting, saying Marvel has a very strong record of diversity in its casting of films and regularly departs from stereotypes and source material to bring its MCU to life. The Ancient One is the title that is not exclusively held by any one character, but rather a moniker passed down through time. And in this particular film, the embodiment is Celtic. We are very proud to have enormously talented Tilda Swinton portray this unique and complex character alongside a richly diverse cast. On Wednesday, Feige spoke to Men's Health for a cover story of an upcoming Asian-led American Marvel film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, saying that Doctor Strange could have cast an Asian actor. We thought we were doing so smart and so cutting edge. He said we were not going to cliche of the old white Asian man, but it was a wake-up call to say, well, wait a minute, is there any other way to figure out is there any other way to both not fall into the cliche and cast an Asian actor? And the answer to that is, of course, is yes. At the time, Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson and co-star Benedict Wong defended Thornton's casting, while other Asian actor and visibility groups criticized it. In a major push for diversity, Shang-Chi will be the first Marvel film to feature a predominantly Asian cast, with the lead role being played by Simu Liu. The film has stated September 3rd. So before I go to my second story, I just want to say something short. So whitewashing isn't a new thing. We have seen a lot since 10 to 20 years, and one example I would say is Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you were a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you will know that there's a movie called Avatar: Avatar: The Last Airbender. So what they did, and this is not the fault for actors, right? The actor had no fault for this. The directors and producers. So they whitewashed all the characters. And one example I wanted to give you guys was the actor said Ong, but the pronunciation, the proper pronunciation is Ang. So that I didn't like the movie, but so that's why sometimes so whitewashing can be a good thing sometimes and sometimes not. So my second story is about the reality show Next in Fashion. Next in Fashion is a Netflix reality show and fashion design competition series hosted by designers Ten Friends and Alexa Chung. It follows designers from around the world as they compete for the chance to win $250,000 and debut a collection on a luxury fashion retailer site Net-a-Porter. The contestants has shown. The contestants are shown in a modern warehouse space that serves both the workroom and on show days a runway space complete with area for hair and makeup station. A fully stocked fabric and notions closet is adapted for each challenge, and producers will get any item that is needed outside of the supplies provided. Alexa Chung and 10 friends serve as both hosts and judges with 2 or 3 more judges for each challenge. Each episode has them introducing the theme and revealing the guest judge. The designers then each occupy a large work table and pour fabrics and supplies. The bulk of these pre-runway show overviews their designing and construction process, typically over 2 work days. The runway contest itself as a catwalk and fully digitalized floors and walls, so each show has a different feel, yet comes off as a professional presentation. So before I go to my last story, I love the show. I watched this show. So if you guys love fashion, if you guys love building clothes and stitching clothes, so this show is for you. So my final last story is about the documentary The Last Blockbuster. The documentary tells the story of the blockbuster a video rental business. The documentary explores how the video rental company put independent video rental stores out of business by striking deals with film studios. The deals, known as revenue share deals, allowed Blockbuster to negotiate lower price than their local counterparts in exchange for a cut of the rental fees. The firm follows Sandy Harding, the general manager of the rental store, over the course of a number of years. Actor and Clark director Kevin Smith discusses the kind of businesses that Blockbuster put out of business and how they inspired this debut film. So, so I also watched this film. It brings nostalgic because I didn't know Blockbuster. And But when I watched this film, I really like this film. So that's all from me. This is Nibras Khan from News Connect. I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much. Back to Aiden.
I hope you check out some of the Brass's suggestions. Actually, some of them sounded really good, and honestly, I might need to check them out myself. Lastly, to end our Youth Connect, we always have to end with our very talented artist and singer, Jeffrey, with live music.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Good, thanks. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls at 5 and dressed in summer clothes. I see people turn their heads until my daughter goes. I see a line of cars and they aren't painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. I see them turn their head, quickly walk away.
like a newborn babe, it just happens every day. No more will my green light change deep into blue. I can't see the same thing happening to you. If I look back and then to the morning sun, I see people laugh at me till the day sun, till the morning comes. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls reclining till the summer clothes. I see people turn ahead till my darkness goes. Thank you.
Truly astounding. Oh my gosh. It just is the cherry on the top for our youth. Honestly, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for sharing your song. So I want to say, guys, amazing show. And I want to thank my co-host. I got to say thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Nibras. Thank you, Jeffrey. You just make Youth Connect all the better. And honestly, if one of you guys disappeared, Youth Connect just wouldn't be the same without you. Anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed Youth Connect. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for next week's Youth Connect.
And don't forget to hit the notification bell.
And make sure to hit that notification bell. Thank you, Kevin. Make sure to hit that notification bell as well. Remember, stay connected, stay creative, and we will see you next week. Thank you, guys. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, co-hosts. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.